Welcome to Win TV. I'm Denise Rollard Barnes, your host, publisher of the Washington Informer newspaper, and so glad to have you with us on this Friday, I guess 2 days before Mother's Day. So glad to have you all here. And I hope you've enjoyed the weather this week. It's not going to be as great as we've had coming up as we've had this week, but spring is in the air. The showers, of course, will help things to bloom. And for those of you all who have sinus problems, I am so sorry. But anyway, just wanted to, first of all, say that we want you to like us. We need our fans. We want you to like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on our YouTube channel. And I hope you've already picked up a copy of your recent issue of the Washington Informer. You can, if you pick it up at a newsstand near you, if you're concerned about where or curious about where you can find the paper near you, you can always call us here at the office at 202-561-4100. That's 202-561-4100. Or, you can get a copy. You can read it online, our digital edition at www.washingtoninformer.com. Yes, that's www.washingtoninformer.com. You can get the paper in its entirety, and that's where you can also find the stories that we have published for this week. As I said, Mother's Day is coming up, so I wish to thank all the mothers and future mothers and those who have been just like mothers, a happy Mother's Day. And as I think about, Mother's Day, I, of course, must give a shout out to my mother, Vera Abbott, who's been a great supportive fan of Win TV, and I hope she's watching. And I have to ask, actually, Chevry asked me this question. She said, Denise, what did your mother do to inspire you to be, she said, a successful businesswoman? I'm still striving for success, but to be a successful woman publisher and business owner. And, I had to think about that for a while because, sometimes when we are doing what we have a passion for, people don't always appreciate the fact that, we're not making money, we're struggling, we're working long hours, we're away from our families and all that. But despite all that, I can say that, just growing up in a single parent home, and my mother was a wonderful, wonderful mom. But that's what she taught me. She taught me independence. She taught me to continue to work hard, to fulfill my dreams, to not feel as though I had to rely on other people for my own happiness and growth, and to, just be an independent woman, which she demonstrated. She not only said it, but she demonstrated it. And so I want to thank you, Mom, for all you've done for me and being a great mom and teaching your grandsons the same thing. And so we're going to be together on Sunday and spending Mother's Day together. And I hope that all of you all at least will pick up the phone and give your mom a call. COVID is almost, we're a little better, and a lot of us have been vaccinated, which means that we can spend time with our loved ones. So go on, give that mom a call, give her a shout out, and tell her you love her. And if you want to do that right now, actually, we would love to share Mother's Day with you and your mom. So, go on over and give her a shout out in the chat of our show, and we will probably try to add those in as we go through the show today. We want all of our moms to feel appreciated and loved. So we have a pretty good show for everybody today. We hope we're having with us Sister Mary Bader, who will talk to us about St. Anne's Center for Youth, Children, and Families. She's going to share a virtual fundraising event that's coming up in a few days, celebrating the 160th anniversary of the organization that has done so much to support vulnerable women and children in the DC area. This is also Small Business Week, so we look forward to talking to Corey Arnaz Griffin, who is the chair of the Greater Washington Black Chamber of Commerce. I'm sure he has a lot to say about how small businesses have been able to cope and survive, and some have even thrived during this pandemic. So we want to definitely raise up the Greater Washington Black Chamber of Commerce. If you're not a member, I think you should consider joining. Corey will tell you how to do that because we're going to talk about some of the things the Chamber is offering for local businesses and connecting you to opportunities to make more money. We're also going to have Tavonia and Evans and AJ, who are with us to talk about cryptocurrency. Now, you all know that's a hot topic right now. And we're specifically going to talk about the Guap coin and the Guap Foundation. I'm learning myself, folks, trying to find out what this cryptocurrency is all about. And so I'm so glad that they're here to share that information with us. In addition to it being Small Business Week and Stroke Awareness Month, it's also Mental Health Awareness Month as well. And so Alexis Feaster, who is a life coach, will be talking to us about some things that we can do to, this pandemic has affected us, but it's also brought to light some of the life decisions that we probably have been procrastinating and not making. But Alexis is going to help us to break through that just a few minutes and see how we can become the individuals that we were meant to be. And Demond Nicholson, who is a professional boxer from Laurel, Maryland, exemplifies breaking barriers. And not only is he a successful boxer, but he also fought kidney failure and won. Looking forward to talking to him. And of course, Dr. V, the doctor we turn to with all of our health-related questions, will be back with us again. Look forward to talking to her. And before our program ends, I just want you all to remember to continue to watch on our show afterwards, Chevry. Yes, WI Bridge is going to bring their aspect of the program towards the end. Great featured artists that they will have, as well as what's happening in the DMV. Great show. So continue to watch it. Don't stop when we're done, because we have more to offer. So going forward, I guess we're going to stop now and get our little catch up on the news with our very own Curtis Knowles. Thank you.
This is Curtis Knowles reporting with WIN TV News. D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser announced a Safer, Stronger D.C. Summer Crime Prevention Initiative on Monday after the law enforcement and community kickball game. The program is planned to run from May to August. The program plans to reduce violent crimes, remove illegal guns from the street, and collaborate with partner agencies and organizations for additional assistance in lowering crime rates throughout the city. Dr. Daryl J. Pines has been named as the 34th president of the University of Maryland. Pines is the second Black person to claim this position. Pines said that he plans on pouring $40 million into diversity efforts for the school. United States birth rates have reached an all-time low as of last year. It was the sixth straight year in terms of decreasing birth rates. The CDC reported that the birth rate had fallen 4% from the previous year. The number had fallen below the replacement rate, meaning that there were more people dying in the U.S. than being born. Ebony magazine is celebrating its 75th anniversary with the book titled Ebony, Covering Black America. The book details ebony covers of the publication's past, as well as other achievements of Black people. The book was written by Lavelle Levette and featured contributions from many well-known Black celebrities. This is Curtis Knowles with WIN TV News.
All right. Thank you so much, Curtis. Love that hairstyle. We got to talk about that, my brother. But anyway, but look who's talking, right? Denise. Okay. But we'll keep going. Sister Mary Bader, welcome to WIN TV. Are you there? Hi there. How are you?
I'm well, Denise. Thank you for having me on your show.
No, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. I just want to share with our viewers that Hamil Harris actually did a story on the program this week at the center, and we hope that people will go to the Washington Informer to read that story. And I want to congratulate you on your accomplishments. 160 years. You haven't been there that long,
no,
but I'm going to say if you do, I want to know what pill you're taking, because you look great. But yeah, tell us a little bit, if you don't mind, a little background about the center.
Well, St. Anne's was, as you just said, founded 160 years ago by three Daughters of Charity, which is my religious community. And we were founded just as the rumblings of the Civil War were starting. And our primary focus at the time was taking care of infants and very young children who had been displaced, sometimes orphaned by the beginning of the Civil War, as well as young women who were in crisis, who were pregnant and had nowhere else to go. And since that time, we have continued that kind of service. Of course, as times moves forward, the way that we deliver the services has changed to meet, as it always has been part of our mission, to meet the needs of women and children in the community. So today, our mission is to provide supportive transitional housing for mothers and children who are experiencing homelessness. The housing piece is, of course, very important, but equally important are the support services that we provide for the families, most of which are provided on site and would include an early Head Start, child care center for the residents' younger children, as well as education and employment programming for the young women who are coming to us sometimes without an education or an unfinished education, and are in need of bringing or earning a high school degree. Other times they're finishing or completing a bachelor's degree at one of the local universities or community colleges. And we work with each family wherever they come or however they come to us. And each family has their own set of challenges, but more importantly, they all have a set of strengths, and we build upon the strengths in a trauma-informed environment where we can provide as many of the supports that they need to launch themselves into independent housing of their own, as well as independency and self-sufficiency.
That's a great, I think, overall sort of picture of what you all do, and I think that's fantastic. I am concerned, though, when we think about mothers and children in crises these days. I mean, they're pretty hidden. We don't see them, and so we don't really understand the state of the crises, and particularly as it may have been exacerbated by this pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And 160 years is a long time, but a problem that has not gone away. And in your time there, Sister Mary, what have you seen? Is the problem leveling off? Is it getting worse? Has there been, an improvement? Just tell us what's going on out there.
Well, I think that the biggest challenge is the housing, particularly in this region of the country where housing is essentially unaffordable. And anything that might be affordable is still not within the range of young women who might or might not have completed their high school education and who are challenged not only with housing, but with childcare. And I think the pandemic has brought to light something that many of us have been concerned about for years, and that is the cost of childcare. And so when you have several factors, the housing, the childcare, the education, all coming together as being problematic, basically because of equity issues or the lack of equity, and that just creates a tougher situation for people today, especially for young women, and who are parenting or not parenting. So that's why we try and address as many of those challenges as we can here at St. Anne's, but then also using means in the community as well.
So I'm sure that's why you all are having your fundraiser, which now this year has to be a virtual event. It helps to pay the cost of the needs of those families. And on average, about how many families do you serve? Let's say over a period of time, and what's that period of time?
Over a period of a year, we serve about 26 to 30 families. And they come and they go, or they transition from our program. And in fact, in preparing for this show and for other things, we looked at the number of families that have transitioned from St. Anne's into their own permanent safe housing since March of 2020. And we've had 10 families in a pandemic, which is remarkable and is speaks volumes as to the kind of work that the families have done to bring themselves to that point. So that we do work intensely. Our average length of stay is well over a year, almost a year and a half for families, but it can be as much as 4 years as they move within our programs.
It's been noted that you've had, I mean, when we think about great leaders in our country, past and present, and we don't really know the stories behind those individuals who may have come through, let's say, drug abuse, or maybe they were foster children, or they've been children who just needed services like what St. Anne's provides. And you have one of those individuals, I think, who you might want to share with us who would have known. Can you talk about him?
We have one person who's very involved in our gala that we're holding next week, who has been a very good friend of St. Anne's and who we've known for a little more than 60 years because he was here as a baby awaiting adoption. And that was back in the late 50s, I think, maybe early 60s, when we were doing adoptions, when we're handling adoptions. And that person is Michael Steele, who was the Lieutenant Governor of Maryland and is now a commentator on several of the national news shows, and has just been a very, very good friend to St. Anne's and to a lot of other organizations that are doing similar work, helping make life better for a lot of people. And he's just been tremendous gift to St. Anne's, and we're very proud to be associated with somebody so wonderful.
Yeah, that's a great story to tell. He was also a past chair of the Republican National Committee.
Yes. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. I forgot to mention.
Yeah, I had to say that because folks try to act like he wasn't there, but he was leading that organization, and has been a strong critic as well. But let's talk about the fundraiser, the gala. When is that going to take place, and how can people get involved? How can they donate?
It is going to take place next Thursday, the 13th, and it will be on a YouTube channel. We are starting at 6. It'll go till 7. We also have the ability for people to tune in later to watch it, because it is all pretty much recorded. And we have some wonderful guests that are going to join us. We'll hear from one of our residents, our current residents, and her son. And we'll have Michael Steele there emceeing, as he's done in the past. We also have 2 young men who I like to call our youngest philanthropists, who are now teenagers, but who started probably when they were in their maybe 8 or 9 years of age, supporting St. Anne's. One of them is Miguel Coppage, who is also an alum. We like to call him an alum of St. Anne's. And the other is Jake Gardner, who is just been a very good friend to St. Anne's as well. And we are honoring them with the Michelle Heidenberger Volunteer Award for their many gestures and efforts at fundraising for St. Anne's, and just for their remarkable presence at St. Anne's, and just because they're wonderful human beings who care about other people and want to give back and have been very good to us. And we are also honoring my religious community, the Daughters of Charity. And we have some wonderful entertainment that's being provided by Terrence Cunningham, who is of The Voice fame, and a local group who you might have heard of, the String Queens, who are Washington teachers in the district who also have a wonderful ability to play classical music and adapt it to all genres of music. So we're happy to have them, as well as Jason Reynolds, an author who's going to be presenting some of our awards, and special guest Tommy McFly, who will be working with us. And I must also say we have Cardinal Gregory, who is going to start us off that evening.
That sounds like a fantastic program, Sister Mary.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing it with us. And yeah, you have a what I would call an all-star lineup. So I'm hoping people will actually go on. Sherry, do we have the information on how they can actually, tune in since it's virtual, how they can donate, all of that? We really would love this to be. So we've put it down on the screen, the website, as well as your social media handles there. So we hope that folks will actually respond and support St. Anne's because of the great work that you all are doing. And I want to thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Denise. And thank you for all you do for our community.
Oh, hey, we got to keep working, right? When there's a need, we have to answer. And I'm glad you all are there to do that. So have a great one.
Thank you.
Okie doke. Wow. Who would have known? I'm so glad she shared that bit of a story with us. I want to bring Corey Griffin on right now because Corey just shared some great story about his granddaddy, and we were talking about kidney donations and all that. There's so many great stories that we just don't. That's what we like to do here, Corey, is to get the stories out, let people know, that we are not only business people and what have you, but we have personal lives. So. But let's move on. Let's talk about small businesses.
Fantastic. Well, you tell the story better than anybody, and you've done it for so many years, and so we so appreciate the value that you bring to this community and the impact that you've made, and really sharing the important stories of our community through your lens, and it's been impactful. So we appreciate you.
Thank you. And I appreciate you. This is a day of appreciation, hugging. And since we got to say it since we can't touch.
It is Small Business Week too, right? So we're celebrating small businesses this week.
Exactly. And that's why I'm so excited about the Greater Washington Black Chamber, because, that's what you all are all about, bringing together small businesses, connecting them to opportunities, providing resources. Tell us, more about what you all are doing there.
Absolutely.
And full disclosure, I am a member of the board. I have to say that. And
I have to say that.
But go ahead.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate that. And we appreciate your service. But really, Denise, this chapter was really born out of the energy that we recognized around the need here in the District of Columbia. Many people may not know this one statistic, and I'll rattle it off. In 1920, the Shaw neighborhood, made up of about 40 blocks, had 300 Black-owned businesses in that quarter. 300 Black-owned businesses, and that's a very important statistic and data point, because as we see the city growing and changing, we saw the critical need to address some of the systemic issues that have impacted Black-owned businesses in this city. We've lost lots of Black-owned businesses over the decades, and we want to do everything we can to preserve them. And so that's really the focus of our local group. But more largely and globally, we focus on driving access to capital for our Black-owned businesses. We want to make certain that our businesses have the resources that they need to be able to grow and expand. We also focus on, advocacy and networking, making certain that we're addressing the critical needs that sometimes land in our laps in the form of legislation or other policies that impact our Black-owned businesses' ability to thrive and grow. And then in so doing, we really focus on capacity building, really making certain that we drive technical assistance to make certain that our Black-owned businesses in the city and in the region have the tools that they need to be able to grow and take on new and bigger challenges.
This has been a really harsh period for small businesses and Black-owned businesses. Has the chamber really assessed how the pandemic has affected Black-owned businesses over the past year and let's say 15 months.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, you know the old adage, right? When some have colds, other communities have pneumonia, and this pandemic has proven that to be a reality in the systemic challenges that Black and Brown communities have, and it's no different for Black businesses. I mean, we are disproportionately um, failing during this pandemic. We're disproportionately impacted in terms of the dire financial impact that it's had, and our community of Black-owned businesses are helping us to understand just how dire the state they're in. And so we're doing everything that we can. We're an affiliate of the national organization, the U.S. Black Chamber of Commerce, and this is sitting squarely on their desk. Ron Busby, who is the chair, or the president and CEO, is working with corporations large and small in the federal government to raise this issue so that they know that there's a clarion call around this idea that we've got to get more support, more financial assistance, other resources to help our businesses to survive during this pandemic.
You know, I think there's I think, but maybe you can clarify that. But there's a flip side of that coin too. During the pandemic, there has been a lot of growth, a lot of upstarts. We've told and we've seen stories all over of folks who were sitting at home thinking, you know, they're looking at something that they used to play around with and then realize this is an opportunity to make some money. And so, have you seen growth in sort of, I guess, I don't know how you would classify them, but home-based businesses and independent startups among Black people? What have you seen in that regard?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're seeing some wonderful stories that come out of this pandemic, this moment for everybody to perhaps reassess. Some folks who were laid off and had the opportunity to take a look at their passion, had the time to do it. Maybe not all of the resources, but they certainly had the time. And so we're seeing wonderful startup businesses that have come out of it. One thing you probably know is that the fastest growing segment in our population of entrepreneurship is Black women. They're the fastest growing segment of the entrepreneurship portfolio in the United States. And so we've seen wonderful businesses grow, similar to I think there are two women that started then this was actually a few years back, but this is a great example of what we're seeing here. But they started a cheesecake business when they had the federal the federal layoffs for some time, and folks were concerned about when their next check was going to come, and those brave women decided that they would go out and start their passion in the form of a business, and now it's thriving and doing very well. They're just over at the National Harbor, I'm told. They have a storefront now. So, but we've seen many other stories like that. We've seen other folks really invest in venture capital firms to try and put additional funds and resources to make those available to Black-owned businesses that are interested in starting up during this time. So, like most crises in our time, there's always there's a silver lining somewhere. And while our business are really struggling, we are seeing some great stories of people who have braved this world of entrepreneurship and have decided to start businesses.
Well, I'm looking forward to the conversation I'm going to have in a little bit with these two women who started Guap Coin. I'm not sure what that is, Corey, but I'm going to learn today, and hopefully they'll become members of the Black Chamber as well and share it with all of your members. And on that note, I mean, a lot of these startups too have been millennials. You know, young people today are very entrepreneurial. They'll create. I've never seen T-shirts that people will spend $200 and $300 for, but they've got companies, businesses, storefronts, and they're selling all kinds of items that we used to, you know, at least I did, you know, as a kid. I could buy 10 T-shirts for $10. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, what would make the Greater Washington Black Chamber, you know, a great resource for for millennial entrepreneurs.
Absolutely. So thank you. Yeah, we've got some great businesses in the District of Columbia. And you mentioned the t-shirt business, and they're much more than that. This is a group called The Museum. They're on Rhode Island Avenue, and they are doing really, really well. They have their slogan is sort of where fashion and art come together. And so they have some very fashionable gear and wear that you can go and purchase. But they seem to be doing really well during this pandemic. When I drive by it from time to time, I live in a neighborhood, I see people in a line there to support the local business. So we certainly appreciate that. And they're Black owned. And so that's great. So let me tell you why people want to come into the Black Chamber of Commerce, right? Because we are really facilitators of information. We work very closely with the Department of Small and Local Business, DSLBD. We work very closely with the Mayor's Office of African American Affairs. And so we bring together people, our members, so that they can get access to those leaders and those agencies and private corporations to help them understand how they can do business with the district and how they can become certified business enterprises to access government contracts, but also because we are really bringing together an audience of people that are concerned about this issue, about the vibrancy of Black business, not just in the District of Columbia, but across this nation. And as you well know, we're in this time in our life where there's lots of conversation about sort of diversity, inclusion, and equity, right? And so it's important for us to be stood up in this moment so that we can help to facilitate the interests on the part of the government and the private sector to bring resources to our community so that we can grow and create generational wealth. That's really the end goal, right? Anybody who starts business, I was once told, well, this is a quote actually from C.K. Prahalad, and that quote says, "The business of business is business," right? So you're in business because you're doing business and you want to earn business and you want to earn a living and hopefully create some generational wealth. And we want to be facilitators of that work here in the District of Columbia.
Well, I was getting ready to ask you for a quote or some words of wisdom or something, but you gave it to us already. So that's fantastic. So I really do want to thank you because we couldn't let this week go by without having you on and the Black Chamber sort of representing what small business is all about. And small businesses grow into big businesses, and that's the other part that we want. But there's nothing wrong with being small, right?
Absolutely. Despise not small beginnings is what I'm reminded about. And so, so join the chamber. www.dwbcc.org. You can go to our website, sign up, become a member, help us to be stronger in numbers, help us to be stronger in impact. I think the future is bright if we do this the right way and make the right kinds of investments.
Well, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag yet, because I know that you're working on a project with a local company. And so we want to get you back on, to make a major announcement that the chamber is going to have about how it's going to really connect small businesses to big opportunities. So I want to leave it there. I want people to come back and say, whoa, what's Corey Griffin going to say next time?
Well, thank you.
I think it's big news. And once you're ready to let the cat out of the bag, I'll be there to to open it, and to share it with our viewers. So thanks so much.
Appreciate you. Thank you, Denise.
Okie doke. Oh, thank you, Sherry. Just we didn't get a chance to say goodbye. See you, Corey. Thanks so much for joining us. So we're going to now move on to what I was talking about, two entrepreneurs who really are going to educate all of us, I think, about cryptocurrency. I'd like to welcome Tavonia Evans and AJ. Welcome, ladies. How are you?
Doing well.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So, we heard you may have heard me a few minutes ago talking to Corey Griffin with the Greater Washington Black Chamber of Commerce. A lot of opportunities for people out there to make money. You all started a company yourselves, or at least started the Guap Coin. And so, Tavonia, I'm going to start with you, because what is Guap Coin?
Well, Guap Coin is a decentralized cryptocurrency that I founded back in 2017. And our goal, of course, is to empower Black voices everywhere financially, utilizing blockchain. There are many, many different benefits to blockchain. The transparency, the ability to trade directly or make payments peer to peer without the disruption of any type of entity, et cetera. Blockchain has been the single most empowering force in the last 10 years of finance. And we're harvesting that and using it for Black-owned businesses and institutions and customers as well, just regular folks. So that's pretty much what it is, I think, in a nutshell.
I'm sorry, before I move on to AJ, I just want to ask, I mean, there's that first step, right, into cryptocurrency. There's that awareness, there's that understanding. And maybe more people have that than I do. But I'm asked, you know, when you decided to step into this arena, what was it that really made you say, this, I've got to do this. I've got to be a part of this.
Oh, you're talking to?
Yes, I'm talking to you, Tavonia.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
well, it was more than I got to be a part of this. I was like, I have to create this. I have to develop this. But the reason being is because it's money. This is the future of money, and it's no longer the future, it's the now. So imagine years ago when we had the opportunity to, if we would have had the opportunity to be on the ground floor of building a currency in this country. We didn't have that opportunity. We didn't have that opportunity to participate in the banking system and the Federal Reserve and a lot of other things when talking about on the ground floor. So this is the ground floor of a whole new way of transacting with one another, a whole new store of value out there. And I think that that's what needs to be relayed to the people. It's like, this is the beginning of new money. And this is the beginning of how we're going to be spending money, how we're going to be making money, earning money, trading money, how we're going to be creating money. So it's very, very important that we're here and we're participating wholly in this process.
So I keep muting myself. Sorry about that. But that's I think that helps us to. I mean, there's a lot out there. You know, there's I think some movies on Netflix and all that are talking about the history of money and how money is used and what the different methods were. So I think that's one thing that's clear to understand, that there's always been sort of a period when there's been sort of a shift on how we, exchanged value in some shape, form, or fashion. And so, AJ, I want to bring you in now to talk about Guap Foundation and explain to us what that is.
Definitely. Thank you, Denise. Before I do that, I always feel like Tavonia is extremely modest. I do want to call out that she is obviously a Black woman, and she created a Black owned coin way before her time and way before anyone, this whole popularity and craze came about. And so, I just always like to call that out. But as far as the foundation's role is to progress the coin while building up the Guap ecosystem. It's also really important that we educate and train our people on cryptocurrency. We have free online tutorials as well as videos where everyone can go online to learn about cryptocurrency and Guap coin. We also have paid training where we partner with organizations to provide Crypto 101, Masternode 101, Intro to NFTs, how small business merchants can actually start to accept Guap coin as well as all cryptocurrency for payment for their goods, their services. We also, funny enough, I just heard Corey Arnez Griffin. We actually have a partnership with the Philadelphia Chamber of Commerce to train their business owners in June. One other aspect of the foundation is that we're building out the ecosystem to include various platforms on Guap. We just recently awarded a Barbados gaming company the Guap Foundation grant to progress a Guap game and bring that to market. We provide merchant support. Shout out to Jerome for his business, which creates t-shirts I'm wearing today and other Guap merchandise. And the last part that I want to stress is just the generational wealth aspect. Tavonia created this coin to change the generational wealth gap for Blacks all over the diaspora. We have Guap coin and Masternode holders all over the world, including the Caribbean and Africa. And so the Guap Foundation takes that charge very seriously. We continue to try to get the word out, which is why we're here today. We want people to know we have our own Black-owned coin started by a Black woman, Tavonia Evans. You can create more of that coin by way of a Masternode, and that coin can actually be accepted by merchants. What more can you ask for? Our time is now, and we're excited about the movement.
So this is really, sort of the simple ground question. What is Guap? What does that mean?
Well, Guap is urban vernacular for money. When we were, kind of mulling over what this should be called, Guap came to mind because number one, I wanted people to know that this was money before anything else. And people who are familiar with the term know that that's in reference to money. And Guap isn't just any kind of money in the Black community. It's good money. It's the kind of money that you want. So I thought that it would be very appropriate to call it that and to separate it from all of the other coins out there. Kind of note that this is coming straight from our community, straight from our heart.
I think it's fantastic, and I'm glad that you have that partnership in Philadelphia. I think that from this, I'm sure that people have lots of questions, or for those who are already, involved in the cryptocurrency, would like to, because that's what I'm wondering. Can you kind of go from one to another? If you're going down this track and somebody hears about Guap coin and says, I think I want some Black dollars. I don't want to. I mean, that's not what it is, but
that is what it is.
Okay, I want some Black dollars. I mean, they could do that as well.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So tell us how people can learn more about Guap coin.
Well, the first thing you want to do is visit the website guapcoin.org. And if you click on the top right-hand link that says join our Telegram, that's like the entry point into joining the community. And what we like to relate to people is that although this is dealing with money and dealing with value, in cryptocurrency, the community is the value. The community builds the value. So we must build the community. So, it's important that you join the Telegram and you participate in the community so that you can get other community members to help you, to assist you to navigate the crypto space, to navigate the Guap space, because that's what we're all here to do in the community. So that's like step one. You want to join that Telegram before you do anything else. And then further on, you want to get some Guap coin. We are listed on an exchange. We're on an exchange called Probit, probit.com. And there are also links on guapcoin.org to get to Probit as well.
Okay, fantastic. Well, what we may do, I always like to keep the door open to bring folks back and really take deeper dives in some of our conversations. So, and this one is definitely, I think, one that we want to continue to follow. This currency is not going away. It's only going to grow. Right? It's only going to grow. And it's good that you all have, stepped in and you're in the door at the table providing opportunities. So I'm really glad you were able to join us.
Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, ladies. And we'll talk soon. And we have the information up. So we look forward to sharing that with our viewers.
Thank you.
All righty. We're going to take one quick break, do our Black History update, and then we'll be back with our next guest, Demond Nicholson.
Here's another edition of Win TV's Black Facts. On May 7th, 1943, the SS George Washington Carver was launched at the Richmond Shipyard No. 1 in California. May 8th, 1932, is the birthday of heavyweight boxer Sonny Liston, born in St. Francis County, Arkansas. On May 9th, 2020, the founding father of rock and roll, Little Richard, died at 87 years old. On May 10th, 1994, historic leader and hero Nelson Mandela was inaugurated as the first democratically elected state president of South Africa. May 11, 1981, reggae superstar Bob Marley dies in Miami, Florida. On May 12, 1959, film artist Ving Rhames was born in Harlem, New York. And lastly, May 13, 1950, is the birthday of R&B legend Stevie Wonder.
Reporting from the Washington Informer, this is Lindiwe Vilakazi.
Thank you, Lindy. Always glad to celebrate Black History. 365 days a year, 52 weeks. We do it every day at the Washington Informer proudly. So we're so glad that you are able to share Black Facts with us. And so speaking of Black Facts, we're going to move next to Demond Nicholson, a boxer. And an athlete, just a great overall guy who has a story to tell about how he overcame a battle with kidney failure and almost lost his life. Demond, are you there? There you are. Welcome. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I can't complain at all. I'm sorry I had to be in my car. I was in a little rush this morning, but I got myself together.
No problem. Just as long as you're not driving.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
All right. Wonderful.
I appreciate you so much.
No, likewise. I'm just glad that you were able to join us today. And I'm glad you're here, Demond. I mean, you started a career in boxing and then found out about this, this kidney disease that you were facing. Tell us about it.
It's been a long journey. I was reaching one of the peak, a major peak of my career at the time. I was going through a little things, and then I bounced back. Was on a big card, big boxing card, and it was going to be in the DMV. Jared Hurd versus Julian Williams, May 10th, 2019. And that morning, I went to weigh in. I made weight for my fight and everything, and after you weigh in, it's about rehydration, getting your body back. Gain a little more weight back that you lost throughout training camp, and from there, my body just gave out on me. An hour after weigh-in, I was preparing myself to fight for war the next day, and next thing I knew, an hour after weigh-in, my body just gave out. My dad, he rushed me to the hospital. My dad and my team, they rushed me to the hospital. They gave me IVs. And the next thing I knew, when they was giving me IVs, I went to sleep. The doctor was trying to keep me up, but my body was so tired and so drained. When I woke up, they had gave me 11 bags of IVs.
Wow.
11 bags. Yeah, 11 bags of IVs. And the nurse asked me, she said, "Mr. Nicholson, do you have to use the bathroom?" I said, "Nah, not right now." She said, "Mr. Nicholson, we gave you 11 bags of IVs within the last 2 to 3 hours, sir." She was like, "You have to use the bathroom or something." She said, "Sir, if you don't have to use the bathroom, then that means we might have to possibly put a catheter in you." And when she told me that, I immediately tried to jump up. I couldn't even get up.
I know.
My dad had to help me get up, and I couldn't use the bathroom. And from there, they ran some tests. They did their blood work on me and everything, and they told me, "Mr. Nicholson, my biggest thing was, look, I just need some rest, get these IVs in me. Let me rest so I can fight tomorrow." They came back and told me, "Mr. Nicholson, you won't be fighting no time soon." They told me I wouldn't be fighting 6 to 12 months. Not fighting, but I wouldn't be back in the gym. But through the grace of God, I was back in the gym in 2 months, and I was fighting. I was back fighting in 5 months. And that was just me having a warrior mentality. I shouldn't have been fighting in 5 months. I really shouldn't have. Now is the perfect time. Like after my kidney failure, like I think now is the time I'm 100%. It's been 2 years now. It's been 2 years. What's the date? It's gonna be 2 years in a couple of days. May 9th is gonna be 2 years. Yeah. So I'm really just recovering 100%. And yeah, it was just not a miracle. It was just me, determined and knowing that, I gotta eat,
get through.
my children, they gotta be taken care of. I'm a grown man,
Demond, let me ask you a quick question, if you don't mind. How old are you?
I'm 28.
So was there any indication before that there was something that wasn't quite right?
The only indication that I had was that my lower back was hurting. And sometimes in boxing, if you don't drink enough water while you're working out and losing weight and stuff like that, that can happen. But I never questioned that, my kidneys were failing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's now, but now, since I had that crazy accident, I think pretty much boxers are really getting their regular physicals and getting their kidneys checked out and everything, because we lose so much every training camp that, you never know what's going on with your body.
And was there ever any history of kidney disease in your family?
No, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
No, ma'am.
So, I mean, it's when we're young, a lot of times we just feel as though, we can do anything.
Exactly.
And
that's
fortunately,
why I fell to play.
But fortunately, that you had that attitude, which I think you're sharing with us today, is that it continued. That stayed with you, which is why you were able to recover.
Right.
Quickly, but maybe not as quickly as you should have.
Definitely not as quickly as I should have. But it's just about it's just about telling yourself, where you want to go and where you want to be in life, and it's in your mind is a powerful thing.
So while we're in the midst of, and I'm glad, I'm grateful that you overcame. I really am, and that you're here to share this with us, and that you'll continue to heal. But we are in the midst of Mental Health Month,
right?
And for someone like yourself who really needs your body to take care of your family, like we all do. I mean, what was that struggle like? Did you have to?
At the time, I didn't feel like I needed to see a therapist. It was nothing. It was never on my mind. I always tell myself, look, I'm not crazy. I don't need to talk to anyone. I talk to myself enough, and I'm not crazy, but I still talk to myself, but at the time, it was just COVID hit. Excuse me. My only source of income, I was selling sea moss, and I really didn't, that was it. That was it. I'm used to fighting every 2 to 3 months, being able to hold my own and stuff like that. And it got hard during COVID. And when I had the free time, I sat down and got a therapist. I thought it was important to help me with what I was going through, because, me not fighting and me just having a lot of things going on is normally the things that goes on happens when I'm training. I'm in the gym, I'm fighting. I can the gym is like my therapy.
Right.
So when I didn't have that, it was no other way out. It was just I was stuck.
I think it's fantastic too, because there's a stigma in our community, and particularly among our Black men, about seeing therapists. You're laughing, so you must have a funny story to tell.
Nah, you're so true, because when somebody had told me, you need to see a therapist, and the first thing I said was like, what? Like, I'm not crazy, and when I finally went to go see my therapist, the first thing before I even said anything, she was like, people think it's crazy to just talk to someone, when it's not crazy. you know, and the more I went, the more I realized, like, you know, you don't have to, anybody can talk to a therapist, you know. It's not even like, they shouldn't even be called therapists sometimes, you know. They should just be called, you know, just a friend you never met, you know. That's what it's like. That's what it's like. That's
Yeah,
what it's
I'm
like.
so glad to hear you say that and to promote that.
Yes.
And I'm just wondering, because sometimes when people, you know, they go for a minute or
Right.
they go for a lifetime, I don't know, but
Right.
there's always some message that
Right.
you take away that helps
Yeah.
you in those times when you're not
Yes.
sitting there. There's something that you sort of, you know, keeps you in that I
Yes,
won't
ma'am.
say happy space, but you
Right.
know,
But nah, it
yeah.
does. It does. Because I look at myself as like one of the strongest people outside of my close, the people that's in my circle. Like, I look at myself as a strong human being, you know, and for me to actually take the time out of my day and actually just go talk to someone, it really helped me, you know. Not far as me being weak or nothing like that. It didn't have nothing to do with that. It was just helpful, you know. That's it, you know. I think when people realize what therapy or talking to someone really is, then a lot of us will go.
Well, I'm going to share a personal note because there have been times in my life I've had to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And the therapist that I saw is no longer with us. He's deceased. But one of the things he used to say to me, which at the time made no sense to me at all, but now I carry it with me all the time. And he used to say, "Are those helping Denise thoughts or hurting Denise thoughts?"
Right.
And I
Right.
was like, wow, wow.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
used to tell them, of course they hurt. That's why I'm here talking to you.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh man. See, you had to learn to put your pride to the side. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, I really, really wish you the best. We want to know, of course, you know, we're going to be rooting for you. Want to know about your boxing career. Tell me, what is it? What do you
My
call it?
record.
Yeah, well, not only your
Point.
record, but I don't want to
My
say you're
boxing
a
name.
boxer because boxer just is so
Right.
general.
Right.
So what do your weight, your whatever?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm super middleweight. That's 168 pounds.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm 6'1".
Really?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'm 6'1". Yes, ma'am. And
Okay.
you know, I train in I have my own gym in Laurel, Maryland. The Law Boys and Girls Club. But
Okay.
I physically myself, I train at a gym in Baltimore. It's called Upton.
Okay.
Upton Boxing in Baltimore. It's one of the best gyms in the world, you know.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
my dad is my head trainer.
Wonderful. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And his name is
His name is Wilbert Nicholson.
Wilbert Nicholson.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we're
Right
going
now
to keep.
he's. Oh, you can go ahead. I'm
No,
sorry.
I was going to say we're gonna keep looking out and listening out for you and your career. I certainly do wish you the best.
Thank you so much.
You mentioned your kids, so I can imagine you're a great dad. I'm just
Yes,
claiming
ma'am.
that.
Yes,
And if
ma'am.
I don't talk to you before then, have a happy Father's Day.
Hey,
But
happy Mother's Day to you.
thank you. So yeah, we wanna just keep up with you and know you got a space here at the Win TV.
Thank you so much. I
All right.
definitely will keep you updated.
Wonderful.
All right.
Stay well and
All right,
drive
you too.
safely. Okay.
All right, have a great one.
Thank you. Yeah, that is that. I mean, I want to get Alexis in here really quickly because I want to make sure that we stay on this theme of Mental Health Awareness Month. And if Alexis is still there, because I think Alexis, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm great. Yeah, I want to make sure that we got you in because, you know, as an entrepreneur and life coach, just to get you quickly to talk about what you do, but to also to respond to what you just heard from Demond and his story and how, you know, it's important, you know, the role you play. I know you're not a therapist, but the role you play in helping people to sort of stay on track.
No, I appreciate it. Me okay?
Yes, you froze, but
okay,
keep
cool.
going.
No, so I relate to what Demond was saying. I actually coaching by coaching NBA players. So for the past 6 years before starting my own business, I was the senior director of player development for all 450 athletes throughout the league. So as you can imagine, I'm getting players as they come in as rookies, transitioning, from being, 18 years old to now the heads of household. They could potentially get injured. Imagine what that does to your mentality. So as they're going out of the league. And so I've had a whole lot of experience with athletes and people as they deal with those transitions. And to your point, it's not therapy, right? And so there's obviously different levels. I like to explain therapy as something where you deal with your past a little bit more. Coaching is more about the present. So what are the obstacles that you're facing presently and currently? And that's where I live, is in that middle area of how do we do to overcome obstacles? How do we help you to see where it is that you're trying to get to and what are holding you back? How do we help you gain clarity, create goals, accountability? And so I just really love being in this space, again, coming from working with the most influential, hardworking athletes, best athletes in the world, now being able to do this for other people globally.
That's good news because, people do need, we think we go off to school or graduate from high school. Some may go on to college, some may go on to professional school, and you get out there in the world and you think, you know it. It's supposed to happen. You're supposed to like click your heels 3 times or snap your fingers and life is supposed to go smoothly, but it doesn't. It doesn't. And so, as a life coach, what are some of the things that you actually work with people on? How do you get them through, those barriers that cause them to get stuck from time to time?
Yeah, it's a great question because I think there's so many different kinds of coaches. And my coaching is really focused on transformation, empowerment, growth mindset, and leadership. And so, like I said, there's different levels. And so where I like to live is how can we help you live your full life and your biggest purpose? And I think that during the pandemic, a lot of us got to that place where we weren't going into work. So many of us, myself included, are attached to the job. A lot of your identity is wrapped up into that. But at the same time, we had so much happening in our country as Black people, right? So we're watching the murder of George Floyd, then we're having to go get on Zooms and act like everything's just fine and that we're not traumatized as a culture and as a people. And the reality is that that's not true, right? It's how do we talk through and start to look more inward into what's going to help us be our happiest, whether or not it's within a job, whether or not it's in our daily lives. And so my process is to first speak to people who want to have this conversation, right? So if you're coming to me, if you're talking to me, it's because you've already identified that you're not living your best life. And that's how I got introduced to a coach, is I knew I wasn't living my best life. And I said to the coach that I had at the time, I want to be better. I want to be happier. And it wasn't anything in particular that I could put my finger on. I just knew that I could be more and that I wanted to do more. And what that process is gaining clarity. What are some of those goals that you see yourself wanting to do and be? For me, that was being an entrepreneur. So literally having my own coach helped me to leave the MBA and then now get into the space where I own my own business, the Kinship Advisors. And within my business, I consult obviously from the coaching side, but I also run social impact for some of the biggest athletes in the NBA where I run their social impact funds. I wouldn't have gotten to that place if I didn't have a coach help me gain clarity on the goals and things I was trying to accomplish.
No, I think it's fantastic. And the other thing, as people are watching, maybe asking, it's, Demond talked about going to a therapist, right? And so, I mean, that was a mental health issue. And the moment he said it, it almost sounded like, sort of, wow, he could afford to do that. And a lot of people, might need a life coach, but can they afford it? Does that create more stress? Because, I need help, but then I can't afford to pay somebody, just to sit and talk with them. But, and I think it's a valuable service. I do. But how can people, what do you tell people if they say, the first thing is how much it's going to cost? I'm not asking you that, but then I'm sure people would be asking, is it an investment in your life? Is it affordable?
Yeah, absolutely. I think first, Yeah, absolutely. I think if you, right here, I see my website is on there for coaching. If you click on that website, I offer free consultations for between 20 and 30 minutes. Sometimes that's all people need. Sometimes people just need the framework. That's free. Some people want to actually engage once a week or once a month and do this over a longer period of time, which obviously I'm here for that as well, because I want to help people best lives and achieve their goals. But it comes to financial constraints. Something that I've done when it comes to the format of coaching is we do group coaching also. So if you are with your friend, people within your family, or even just other women separately, I can actually partner pair men or women into specific coaching circles. And that's how you do it on, on more of a reasonable budget. And I think oftentimes people don't think of it in that way. And again, personally, I like to have people that don't know each other, that are from kind of different backgrounds. But if you're on a leadership track, then the four of us can get into a coaching session together. And we're also building on each other community wise. Like you're hearing from other people that are dealing with the things that you're dealing with, and it creates a space of accountability, but then it also creates an affordability, right? And so a lot of people don't really offer that, but that's something that I personally understand, that there could be financial constraints. And so how do we do coach, what it's called? So that's something that I think is very, very beneficial.
We have not had a really good connection, in this conversation, and I'm really sorry about that, because we've heard everything, but it's been breaking up a little bit. But if you could just leave one tidbit, for our viewers, that either about just an average issue that folks have to deal with, and something that you help to advise them on. I mean, what would that be? Either about why you need a life coach, or how do you deal with life's issues? What's something that's sort of a common thread that you share with your clients?
Yeah. And I'm sorry to hear that, because I have a great connection with you. It's clear on my end, and all of our tests went well. So not sure what's happening, but I think I would just be purpose, right? And so we think of purpose in so many different broad ways, but the reality is how do you tie in what you're feeling inside to the actions outside? And oftentimes I see that being connected back to people's work. And so very specifically around job fulfillment, that's an area that I coach a lot of people on. Is you're in a place where you might feel stuck, get out of that stuck place, and then how do you learn how to pivot within those different environments? And I think for Black people and Black women in particular, we're often put into spaces where we are doing the work and we're not being properly recognized, we're not being properly promoted, we're not feeling fulfilled. And so I have a special sweet spot in that area to help people get unstuck and strategize on how to maneuver throughout their business careers.
Well, I think you're talking to a lot of people right now. And as folks begin to go back, some have lost jobs, some are looking for new careers. They're ready to take that bold step once this pandemic sort of subsides. And, I'm hoping that they'll reach out to you. I think you'll get folks unstuck, as you said, and hopefully propel them into new heights. So I really want to thank you for waiting and then taking time to talk with us. And as time goes on, there may be some other issues that we can talk about that you as a life coach could share, in going forward. So I want to thank you so much for joining us.
Of course. And then I shared a flyer with you guys as well. If you want to pass that along, all my information is on there. I'm happy to talk to anyone at any time. So thank you.
Yeah, we've had your website up during the conversation, and yeah, Sherry just put up the flyer, Growth Mindset and Empowerment Coach. This is a good time to share this, and hopefully folks will go to the website, the kinship. Where'd it go, Sherry? We want to make sure we put it back up here. Right. The kinshipadvisors.com coaching. And as Alexis said, that she'd be willing to give maybe a 10, 15, 20 minutes of just advice. And then you go from there. Right.
Yep. Absolutely.
Wonderful. All right.
You can book right on the website.
Wonderful. Okay. All right. Great to have you. Thank you so very much. And we'll be talking soon. Okay. Yeah, you know, folks, I think, like I said, it's Mental Health Month, and sometimes it may not be a therapist you need. It might just be a life coach, somebody to help to give you some sense of direction. So I'm glad that Alexis Feaster was with us and to share that. So we're gonna, that brings us to an end of this edition of Win TV. As I said, don't go away, because the media prints will be following up right behind us, as well as Sounds of the DMV. I want you all to have a wonderful weekend. All the moms again out there, have a wonderful Mother's Day. Chevry, our producer, happy Mother's Day to you too. And we will see you again next week, hopefully with a lot of news you can use. Have a great weekend. This is Denise Rollard Barnes signing off.
It's Friday, and yep, DC is still thriving. The Washington Wizards are on a winning streak. DC has its own New Balance shoe, and our US lost on social media as Rico Nasty. We'll find all of that and more. I want to welcome you to What's Going On DC. It's your boy, the Media Prince. Let's get straight into it. On top of an amazing winning streak, Washington Wizards coach Scott Brooks was just named Coach of the Month for the Eastern Conference. Congratulations. Are you ready to get funky? Well, the 7th annual DC Funk Parade is back this weekend. And don't worry, my COVID-friendly people, it will be virtual. You can find all that more at wibridgedc.com. Let's take some time to celebrate this young king. 16-year-old Curtis Lawrence III of Washington, D.C. is making history as he was accepted to 14 colleges. Listen closely, like Yale, Harvard, Howard, and Morehouse, with receiving $1.6 million in scholarships. Now, I think that deserves an applause. So as you can see, DC outside is opening, and it's opening rapidly. So the Washingtonian just gave its 25 best places for happy hour in DC. Man, you know happy hour is DC's middle name. Hey DC, are you ready to see animals again? Lions, tigers, bears, oh my. Well, the National Zoo just announced that they are reopening May 21st. I'm so excited to get out the house, I just might even get a ticket. Hey sports fans, the Capital One Arena is officially letting fans back in. The Capitals just had their first home game in more than a year, and let's just say it felt good to hear the sounds of a real crowd, said the radio announcers. We spoke about them months ago. Go subscribe. The DC Auto Show will be presenting a TV special on NBC to showcase everything that they have been doing in conjunction of having to postpone the show until next year. Tune in on May 15th and May 16th. University of DC announces that they will be requiring COVID-19 vaccinations for anyone entering the premises this fall. I am so glad I'm done with college. It's scary out here, y'all. Hey DC, have you ever heard of Daniel Hyder? Well, he is like the Hugh Hefner of mansions. This DC real estate agent is taking TikTok by storm, showing the most epic mansions here in DC. Take a look. DC officially gets a custom New Balance design, courtesy of June Sanders. Take a look. Fire! Lastly, DMV's own Rico Nasty just put us on Instagram game. Are you today years old like I am with the whole message request thing? Take a look. But there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Another super week of What's Going On DC. We want to make sure that you tune in and all cued in. For all this and more, head over to wibridgedc.com and remember to follow the hashtags on social media, WIBridgeTMP style and WGODC. Until next week.
goal never left. I'm still here cause I'm planning. My mindset in the sky, so high I'm touching the planets. I'm seasoned like good, only following God rules. Been a legend with all bars since junior high school. We ain't sleep, don't gotta wake up. I'm talking the third person. Been meditating on scriptures, been low key on purpose. My energy is reserved, my circle is box small. I'm used to all pressure and storms. I stand tall, pay homage. What it is, I see a lot of style biting. I'm gifted off the head and I'm gifted with the writing. One man stand alone, my life is not my own. Lord, order my steps, I bow before your throne. Shalom, I met peace, that was my last EP. 7 outspoken is here. Now you're getting raw me, accept it, open your ears. I'm speaking about different tears. Devil can't stop me, I rebuke his volunteers. Look, they say they don't hear me. Look, they say they don't see me. They say they don't care. I be everywhere. Look, ain't no competition when you do it for the kingdom. Ay. Yeah. Look, ain't no competition when you do it for the kingdom. Kingdom. Yeah. The world under attack, God protect the nation. Scriptures being fulfilled, study time is awaiting. Word is not an option, have faith over your sight. The one rose from the dead would bring you straight to the light. Yahweh, it's only one way. Do you believe? I ain't speaking about size when I'm talking about mustard seed. Get with it or get lost. You know who paid the cost. The map without direction is useless. Tapping your source live, straight and direct. Everything ain't perfect, but I strive. I'm still alive, ain't no going back to back. Welcome to the movie, get a seat and pay respect. You ain't leaving the way you came, your spirit's gon' connect. Look, old been spitting since paper, rock, scissors. I'm vintage, black and white like Polaroid pictures. You see me, I stand out, running water in the drought. Ray Charles to the nonsense, you ain't chasing me with clout. They say they don't hear me, I'm applying pressure. They say they don't see me, I'm applying pressure. They say they don't care, I'm applying pressure. I be everywhere, just applying pressure. Ain't no competition when you do it for the kingdom. Hey. Kingdom. Yeah. Ain't no competition when you do it for the kingdom. Kingdom. Yeah. Outspoken. Living in the DMV affect the type of music I make from, all the pain and the hardship. Born in the 80s, raised in the 90s in DC, and coming up, like everything around you, you consume. You get what I'm saying? So seeing people pain, seeing people growth, and seeing what people go through affected me some type of way to make the type of music in the DMV growing up, you know what I'm saying? I'm used to all pressure and storms, I stand tall, pig. To the Christian scene in 09 when I crossed over from the secular scene, you know what I'm saying? Just growing as an individual, going through trials and tribulations, losing people, almost losing myself, you get what I'm saying? God, chose me to mentor youth, and as I mentor youth, I was led to the church where I could mentor a lot of the youth. And just, I was always a Christian, but it's just being led and just going on that scene and needed something new. They say they don't see me. Oh yeah, for sure. I just dropped 7 Outspoken album in January. So right now, and I'm dropping videos every month. I just dropped Elite 3 weeks ago. That's a video. I'm about to drop another video in 2 weeks. Mothers Worldwide on Mother's Day, something special. And just keep looking out for the work I'm doing in front of the scene and behind the scene as a writer. God protect the nation, scriptures being fulfilled. Study time me on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter at 7 Outspoken. That's the number 7. Outspoken, all one word together. That's how you can find me. It's only one way. Do you believe? I ain't speaking about